Hi. Hi, welcome. Hey, Biz Babe. Thanks for being here first and second. All right. All right. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Tiffany. Hi, Lynn. Hello, Jane. And thank you. Hi, Nancy. Hi there, Katie. I'm going to step aside so you can see some of Jane's front door decor signs that are already completed and on wreaths in my wreath shop. Hi, Nancy. Rustic is your favorite? Okay. Well, I know I'm just a couple minutes early, but I did not want to make anybody wait. This is an exciting experience for me. I'm Joni Cook from Belle Chase Wreaths, and on Jane's Front Door Decor's page, I feel so humbled and excited, and I hope that I've prepared just what you want to see. Cookies and buffalo plaid. What could go wrong? Let's start. Love the signs. Aren't they wonderful? This year, this one, Bewitch You in a Minute, one of my faves. And then this one turned out to be a really elegant Christmas with the green, the deer. And actually there's some writing on it, but I've named that one Oh Dear. Okay, I am going to get the comments. Whoa, I just turned myself upside down. How did I do that? Well, that's not going to work. It tells me. All right. Just when you think everything's going just super fantastic, it goes crazy. What happened? Okay, everybody, avert your eyes. All right, here we go. All right, this is a disaster. What happened? I have no idea what happened. I touched my screen and it went kittywampus on me. So we're going to, there we go. Thank you. All right, I'm not touching anything else, I promise. I promise. Okay, thank you for joining me for that little ride. Let's get started with this wreath so I can redeem some humility. Whew, what a ride. Now, if you can't see it, I'll definitely pull it forward. So today, we're going to use the red mousse Christmas cookies. And this sign is about an 8 by 10. And all along the edge, it has a little bit of kind of rustic look to it around the middle. So that's where we are. Am I still? The thing tools, I did that. Are we okay now? Please tell me we're okay. My phone says that I'm okay, so if that's still happening. This looks like I'm still getting crooked. Am I still sideways? Still sideways. Oh, good Lord. Better? All right. Tools is not helping me. Everybody close your eyes. So I have an Archon mount. Turn my phone. Okay, I've turned my phone. I'm still sideways. I have no idea how this happens. I have gone live 28 times and never been upside down or sideways. But you see my eyeliner? I got my eyeliner pretty good. It says I can't do my phone while recording. Murphy's Law, exactly. Is that helpful? I know, right, Lori? Lori, this is, honestly, I have never had this trouble before. I was so nervous coming on that I'm taking tools off. Hi, Shan. Everybody close your eyes. You can't turn your phone while you're recording. Evidently, I'm not supposed to turn my phone while I'm recording. So here we go. It's good now? Okay. All right. Now we're going to go back onto the Archon mount. And you see those lovely signs? All those signs behind me. All those lovely signs behind me are from Jane's Front Door Decor. She happens to be one of my favorite places to get my signs. And I know I'm a little bright, but that's okay. My future's bright. All right, here we go. I'm going to point you down. We're going to get started on this wreath after all that drama. I'm working up a sweat and I haven't started yet. Okay, so we're going to do red mousse. And I know it's backward because if I click one more button, you'll go flying around circles. I want to push it so the signs are backwards. How's that? It worked. Terrific. Okay. Thank you all for all that staying with me during my little roller coaster ride. And I apologize to anybody that has motion sickness. Honestly, I know how you're feeling. So Red Mousse brand Christmas cookies. Let's get started. I am going to be using a red tinsel frame. These two lovely 2.5-inch ribbons that are all ready to go, and this buffalo plaid. I'm going to be doing a poof method. It's one of my favorites and one that I think that we can follow along with while I'm working. I want to try to keep a sign right here. Yep, did the same thing to you, I know. And it's so frustrating because you do something 28 times and never have. Thank you, Tanya. Marielle, yes. Better, Sarah, good. Hi, Elizabeth. All right, I'm just starting off, and if you notice, I took my mesh and I just folded it over. There's no real science to that. I just don't want a raw edge when I start. So I'm going to make like a baby poof. I'm going to open my tie and put it down as far as I can get it and close to the rail. And then I'm going to twist my tie together. And I am what I call a tube twister. I twist my tie 2 times in an effort to make it really stay in there. I do have a mat on my work table. So I measure my 8-inch poofs by putting my twist tie on the 12 because I have things over there. And then over to the 20, I gather with one hand. And as I'm gathering, I try to make sure that both of my ends are facing down. If you can see that, okay. And I'm going to try to keep a watch. Where did I get this awesome mesh? This awesome mesh, I'm going to have to tell a secret. Okay, everybody hold up your right hand. You're sworn to secrecy. I actually got this mesh at, it's called Maker's Holiday. And I got it at, who does Maker's Holiday? Hobby Lobby. I think pretty sure it's Hobby Lobby does Maker's Holiday. Are you sharing, Shan? What is she sharing? What is Shan sharing? Isn't that? All right. So again, I'm doing 8-inch poofs. I'm gathering it and putting it in twist tie. And we're going to do the same thing all the way around the top. When we get to the bottom, we will change the size of the mesh loops, poofs. Now, because it's very sheer, I quite possibly will be doing, why is that a secret? Because everybody wants buffalo plaid. You don't have moose in Louisiana. You know, I gotta tell you, there's something really interesting. There's something really interesting to me about buffalo plaid, okay? So, buffalo plaid is the first thing I thought of, but there's a moose. And then when we went to go for ribbon, there's a deer, a buck. And so, even in coordinating, there's another deer. So every time I'm looking for buffalo plaid, I find it near impossible to find a buffalo. What's up with that? Everybody on the hunt for the buffalo. I'm going to turn this down. Now that means that my head is cut off, but I promise that that's okay. Again, 8-inch poofs around here. We have a tinsel tie work frame that is 16-inch work frame. Yep. Joni, she's making meatballs. Oh man. Well, I'll tell you what. This was such a treat for me to be on Jane's Front Door Decor's page that I went to the meat market this morning, not the one where you get a date. I went to the actual meat market and bought myself a fillet so that I could celebrate getting through this live. And now I have even more reasons because I was upside down and sideways for so long. But I plan to grill myself a nice fillet today to reward myself for having gotten through being on such a prestigious page. Hi, all the first timers. Tiffany Clements is always in my corner. So is Betty Spencer. They have the distinct honor to be, I should say, I have the distinct honor for having them as my biz babes. So they show up on my lives and they help answer questions. And because I'm on Jane's Front Door Decor's page, she too is here. We got a regular celebration going. Bear with us a few technicals. Yeah. What was the... Okay. We're doing okay. There, in the beginning, there was just me. For some reason, when I swiped and I probably should show my head. When I swiped right on the phone, everything was set up perfectly. And then I went to move the comments off. That's when everything went cattywampus. There is this baby poof that we started with right here, but we're going to go ahead and do a full 8-inch poof right over it so that we complete the process all the way around the top. If the mount does not spit your camera at you, you're doing great. That was what happened. Oh my gosh, Melissa. No. No. So, I have had the distinct pleasure of now meeting and being with Jane twice. The first time it was at Wreath Makers Live, and the second time was at a mastermind event. And she is a business owner that I aspire to emulate. So, and by the way, I did a little canvassing of my wreath signs, and I have to say that 80% of my signs come from Jane's Front Door Decor. I thought that was noteworthy enough to put. Meatball stool, Shan. Woo! That sounds amazing. I can't see what... so, if I put it down further, you'll be able to see more, correct? Okay, let me do that. Now, this little ride will be brief, but I will move the camera slightly. And I will also let you go down a little bit more, and that should be helpful. Let's see if that helped. Is that better? You see more of the wreath? Okay, you can see more of the wreath now. If you are on your iPad and not your iPhone, you may want to turn it horizontally, because you'll see more of the wreath. Okay, so I'm working right in front of me, and I'm doing 10-inch poofs now. I hold where my last tie was, down on 12, and I go to 22, and then gather the mesh and place it all the way at the bottom of the twist tie. And then, as I mentioned, I'm a 2-twister, so I make sure it's in there very tightly, and then poof open. Okay, is that better? Is that better for everybody? Her head was still cut off when she could see it. Oh yeah, see? My head is cut off, and that's okay for me. So maybe I'll just put it down to the table. And you see my hands? You see my hands, okay. See the wreath? There we go, okay. We will keep it right there. 15 to 25 now. Remember, I'm pulling it, I'm making these poofs, I'm making sure that the ends of the mesh are underneath as I pull before putting them into the next tie. Barbara, that's better for you? Better? Her phone, yes, Vicki, I'm on my phone, and in the past, that's worked very well. Today, not so much. All right, so this buffalo plaid is coming up quite nicely, and see, this is going to have, I chose a darker background for this sign because it's not white, but it's like an off-white or almond colored, and then it's got some rustic edging on it. Okay, again, here's where my twist tie is. 10 inches is over here, so I grab it, making sure that my mesh is underneath. mesh edges. Put it into the twist tie, make sure I'm all the way down at the bottom. And that's going to give you a great deal of room to work with when you're adding. Yep, I'm at Belle Chase Wreaths, and I'm Belle Chase Wreaths on Facebook, Instagram, my webpage, Etsy shop, and all things. While this poof method is not scientific or an exact science, you do want to try to make the lengths of your poofs the same, if you're going to start with 10 or 8 or 6, whatever you're going to start with in the center, and then increase it by 2 on the outside to get more fullness. But you're going to want to try to make them very similar in size. Thanks, Tiffany. Yes, it is Murphy's Law, and I don't know if I have any Irish in me, but I'm denouncing it today. Just for a short time. St. Patrick's Day, it's another story. There was 2 things that I was concerned about, and my phone and recording was not one of them. The first thing I was concerned about was I'd been working with a lot of glitter in wreaths today, and I thought that I would have an effervescence presence. Well, you can't even see that, so I don't know why I worried about that. And then the second thing was I was nervous that I would be late or something would happen, and I was a little bit early. It is a flat sign, Shan. So it is about the same, I would say the same thickness as a license plate, and it is flat. But it does really look quite well with this buffalo flat, if I do say so myself. One of the things about going live on somebody else's page that I now will remember, don't touch if you use your iPhone, don't touch your iPhone once you have it going and everything's fine. I have no idea what triggered that whole episode, but I'm going to be so over it. Belle Chase Wreaths on Instagram. Yep, Belle Chase Wreaths. Belle Chase Wreaths on Etsy and Facebook. There you go. Jane's got all the links. She'll help me out here with links. Tiffany and Betty are responding to questions, making my life so much easier right now. Now, I have completed the 10-inch poofs around the outside, but I'm seeing from my angle, and I think you can see it too, some areas where I can see all the way through the wreath, and I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the middle now and add another 10-inch poof in between the twist ties. And the way you do that is you measure out your 10 inches. Here you go. Measure out your 10 inches. And I've got that. I ended on a bottom tie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in between the poofs, and I'm going to skip the first tie that I see on the top and move over to the second one. And this is going to give a little bit more fullness in the wreath and hide some of those spots that look right through the center of the work form. And you basically do the same thing. You push it all the way down to the bottom of the twist. And then that's going to give you more fullness, and you'll see less. See, now I covered that spot up. You can't really see my hand in there anymore. So that's what's doing. So if you have a mesh doing a poof method and you can see in between, you're going to want to add a poof in between. Now, this is kind of a zigzag method. That's what people call it. Now I'm at the top, so I'm going to skip the first twist on the bottom, do my 10 inches over here, and go to the second bottom twist. Does that make sense? Hey, Tay. Oh, wow, thanks. Okay, so I skipped the first one and I'm moving over to the second one on the bottom. And that's going to give you a bit of a zigzag effect. If you went directly around up and down, you probably would have too much. Thank you, Deborah. So 10 inches, here we go. We're going to do that extra loop, poof in the center. I'm now at the bottom score. I'm going to skip the first tie and go to the second tie that I see on the top rail. You will have to separate the mesh a little bit to get the row in between the two bits of mesh. And you'll still have plenty of time. Hi, Cindy. Good to see you here. Hi, Tommy. Don't you just love it? Yep, that buffalo plaid still is a thing. Who'd have thunk? All right, now I'm at the top, so I skipped the first bottom and over in that twist over here. And you see, I think you can see it now, but as I went, I'm zigzagging along the inside, and it's making, what's going to happen is it gives it a better foundation for the sign to stay on and for your ribbons to come up onto. Yes. And it's funny because, you know, to be perfectly honest, I loved the red mousse. And until I received it, I didn't realize it was for Christmas cookies. And I was like, it's so darn cute. But this is a really good example of if you are online and you're looking for signs for your wreath and you have a mesh that you want to use, this buffalo plaid mesh. Now, I happen to love the buffalo plaid mesh, but you don't have to stop at Christmas, because if you were a baseball fan, one of Jane's baseball signs would be perfect with this buffalo plaid mesh as well, right? It's got the black, the white, the red. So that's another example of if you buy several rolls of mesh and you want to change it up, you can change your signs. Now I'm going to give you one more example of another sign that you could use with this buffalo plaid. And here is this. Look at this. Who doesn't love the Noel farm with the truck and the Christmas trees? Again, same mesh, same base, different sign. This right here, another one of Jane's beautiful signs. And I generally put my signs on the lower right. If it was a circle one, I might put it in the center. But generally, I put my signs on the lower right. So there are 3 examples of signs from Jane's Front Door Decor that you could use with buffalo plaid. Against Hobby Lobby. I don't think it's anything against Hobby Lobby as it is the quality of the mesh. This is a very, I'm going to call it a very light foil. There is only a little tinsel piece of foil. I think you can see it when I move it. A little tinsel piece of foil about every 6 inches. Now, you won't find, in most cases, you will not find and I'm going to get it for you. Here we go. Here is a Christmas foil that is more of a medium, and it is thicker. So once you got all the way around your wreath with this, you really wouldn't see it through it. Now that's a medium foil. And if you are so lucky as to get some of this mesh from Decor Exchange, this is a heavy foil. Every single cross stitch of netting has foil in it, so it's solid and it's thicker, and it almost feels more like material than it does look like mesh. So those are some of the differences. When you buy at Hobby Lobby, it's not likely that you're going to find a mesh that has more foil in it. Okay, we are just about all the way around with the inserts here. So let's go ahead and finish that. Then we get to one of our favorite parts, the pretty ribbons. Yep, thank you, Tay. So again, I'm at the bottom. I skip the first one that I see, and I move up to the second one. And that's going to give me a little bit better base. It's going to cover some of the places that I showed with my hand that previously I could look right through to the frame. And by the time we get all of our ribbons, goodness, we won't have to worry about seeing through this frame at all. All right, so we are all the way around. I'm going to cut about 6 inches off of this. Trying to see how much I have left. I think I'm going to jump down here. There's a little bit of a space I can put some mesh in right here. Thank you, Leslie. Yes, Jane signs. Like I said, I did a little bit of an inventory before I went on, and I did notice that probably 80% of my wreaths have Jane signs on them. And as luck would have it, I actually found a spot that I missed. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that with the 10-inch poof. And that will make this have that nice full and round look to it. Again, you want your poofs to be about the same size all the way around the outside so that it has that nice round look to it. Okay? You always want to have a great base to start with. So we're going to cut this off. And get to our ribbons. And I'd say I have about 6 inches, and I'm going to tuck that right underneath. Now, this mesh, one of the things is it's probably not enough, definitely it's not enough for another wreath. But if you use at Christmas time or any other time, if you use the attachments like a Santa Claus hat or a hat that you're going to, that came, let me just talk to you a second. If you're going to use like a flat Santa Claus hat, your extra mesh is netting can be put into that hat to give it some dimension. So while it's scraps for things like that, and if you have a grapevine where you want to add a little bit of deco mesh, this might be okay. But other than that, I do save mine for those projects that you need something to fill your attachment. Okay, put that over there. All right, here are the ribbons that we'll be using today. I'm going to point the camera back down so that you see what I'm doing. I'm not as concerned about this as I am about this, so let's get back to it. All right, here we go. So you are right on my wreath. This, oops, one of my ribbons wires wanted to try to escape. if this happens to you, I don't know if you can see that, but the wire is coming out. I may just, because it's almost out, you won't get that back in, I'll cut another piece. But in every twist, I'm going to put one each of these ribbons. And if I'm too close, let me know. I'm going to put the one with the most pattern on it on the bottom, and then put the other one on the top. Since this is going in one direction, when I put it in the twist tie, it really doesn't make a lot of difference which way you do it. So if you had, I wish that they would make a ribbon that the pattern alternates so that everything's not upside down. They probably do. Thank you, Jane. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you. The berry ribbon. The berry ribbon is from, it was from At Home last year. And actually, you can't see this, but maybe I'll try to make it happen. It actually is like, it almost looks like glitter on the, there's glitter berries, but then it almost looks metallic. And I was thinking, the reason I liked that is because it reminded me like of a Christmas cookie that kind of, I guess not many people use metallic on Christmas cookies, right? So I don't, it just looked really pretty, people. Hi, Debbie from Virginia. It's hard to see. Okay, maybe, is it better that way? Can you see better that way? Let me see. I pushed it forward. I don't have a Mevo. I do have, you can't see my hands. My hands right now are in the wreath. And I'm moving some mesh because it's not quite where I want it to be. All right. So I'm putting these, I'll get all the way around and then I'll show you the edge. Yes, thank you. No, Polly. Yes, Rose. No, there you go. Okay. I will try to stay with you, folks. I'm trying to watch the news feed and do this. Okay, so my tails, my ribbon tails are 2.5 inches wide and 14 inches long. I have dovetailed them. I fold them in half, and the reason I fold them in half is because when I open them, I want them to have, remember when you were in primary school? I know, it's a long way to think back, but here, they already are heading up. So when you're putting them down into, it zoomed in somehow? Yeah, I don't know how that happened. And so the ribbons are already facing up, and that's what you want. The reason I use 14 inches is because I use 10-inch poofs, and I want to make sure Facebook didn't play now. It wasn't Facebook. It was just all of a sudden the camera just went like craziness. It was not a fun experience starting off, but I'm going to let it go, as Elsa would say, and keep going here. So again, grabbing one of these for every twist tie. And if I move swiftly enough, we can get a nice bow made, get the sign on, and the sign is basically all prepped because one of the many things I like about the Jane's Front Door Decor signs is that you have the option of what type of hole placement you want on your sign. And for mine, because I put them in the corner, I have requested that the holes be on all 4 corners. So there's a little tiny hole in all 4 corners, and I'll be attaching my Chanel twists on there, and then putting the sign on. Yeah, I have no idea why things are wonky today because it would just figure. All right. And if you find that after you've done your additional row in between and there's still like a spot that you don't like, that's where you put your sign. Camera tutor not can't see. Okay. I'd be happy to raise the camera a little bit for you, Donna. Let me see if I can make it better. All right, I have raised the camera, but now I will face it down to the table. And Donna, if that's a little bit better and you're able to watch, that's great. If you've already exhausted your patience with me, that's okay too. Is that better? Thanks, Ava. The camera was way too close. Is it better now? Since it's not a camera, well, technically it's a camera, but it's the iPhone camera. So we'll just keep going. Oh, that's okay. We're working through it. I know that you have a lot of people that you can choose to watch, and it's perfect now. Okay, thank you, Ava. Ava thinks it's perfect. Now, that was that ribbon that had the crazy. So when I have two 2.5-inch ribbons, I really do try to make a really good squeeze on the ribbon before I put it into the tie. The wreath frame size, Donna, is 16 inches. So it was 16 inches, and it had 16 twist ties, I believe. Thank you, Regina. Thank you, Ava. Thank you, everybody. We do try to make it work for everybody, and sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. The red glitter on this, it's actually velvety. Feels very nice, people, very nice. And just when you just didn't think you had enough buffalo plaid, we have some more buffalo plaid for the ribbon, for the bow. You're welcome. Oh, I know, Donna. I know. Donna, I'm a guest on Jane's page today, so it would figure that things would get all crazy. I don't mean to act up in anybody else's home. It's always just a little unnerving though. Okay, again, these are 14-inch ties. They're dovetailed. I pinch them in the center so that I make sure that they're already coming up out of the wreath. And because it's 2.5 inches, I'm gonna make sure that I have a really nice good pinch before putting it into my twist tie. Right, Evie? It is nice mesh. And I know a bunch of you are gonna say, why are you covering my buffalo plaid up? But that's what we do. We get all these pretty ribbons and then and the pretty mesh, and then we cover it up, but it peeks through. You'll still be able to see a little bit. It's kind of the whole design. I understand, Donna. I understand, and I want you to be able to see. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, we've gone all the way around. Let me show you how I was placing my ribbons, okay? So when I fluffed my ribbons, I didn't make an X. I didn't pull it up necessarily. I pulled them out and a little bit down, and that's going to make your wreath seem a little bit bigger without making that much volume. So that's one of my tips for that. And we're all the way around the bottom. And we'll get these into the top, and then we'll be able to add our sign. And when I say ours, I mean mine. Unless, of course, you go to shop now about 2 hours after this live, and I'll try to get this into the Etsy shop. No comments from Betty on getting things into the Etsy shop. That's another work in progress. But I do have a number of wreaths that are already finished. I think you can sort of see the one that's down here. Another one of Jane's beautiful signs. I'll show you a couple of those towards the end so that you can see and maybe get a couple ideas about how you might want to put, what you might want to use on a wreath from Jane. Because there is a lot to choose from. I think, and don't quote me, but I think I saw like 326 listings. Whew. And some of them are one left in stock, so can't sell them if you don't list them. Amen to that, Betty. I hear you. I'm going to follow your example, Betty, and after I'm done, I will take pictures and put it in the Etsy shop tonight. All right. Yes, the colors are coming out nice. It's getting a nice, I would say, rustic. And then we've got the whole animal things going on. We've got the moose, we've got the deer. If I could only find some antelope, we would let them play too. And interestingly enough, some of the ribbons, let me see. Yes, these two ribbons here, while they match quite nicely, were from two different stores. So that was just my unconscious genius, I guess. That's what we'll call it. Unconscious genius. $20 more to list. Oh, a tour would be fabulous. Anybody that would like to see a tour of all the signs that Jane has, throw a heart. Because I know she has a bunch, and they're all actually quite nice. We are nearly around the edge. We will have to cut one more of the berry. And what's really nice about this berry one is that the branches are brown and not black, so they tie in with that sign very well. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Cindy, you're so kind. Thank you. All right. And again, make sure you got that nice pinch in there. Get it down all the way down into the twist. If you get it too loose in the twist, you risk the tails can slip one way or another, and you may not see it until after the person that purchased it sends you a picture. You do like that, Sandra? I got a million of them. Stick around. I make up stuff all the time. And Tiffany and Betty can attest to that, and Shan as well. I make up stuff all the time. Some of it, worth repeating. Rest of it, not so much. All right. Again, we're almost finished, but we did have that one tie where the wire was coming out, and I didn't want to use it. So we will have to cut one of the berries, and that'll be it. Yes, they are, Donna. I love using her signs. Okay, so I am going to use, whoops, sorry for that noise. It's almost sounding like my dentist. All right, and because I just have to cut one, I don't need the spool holder. But we'll go ahead and cut it at 14 inches. And if you haven't seen it, which probably you have, but folding the ribbons together and then cutting up towards the top. And with some ribbons, you want to make sure that this V isn't too deep, because then your ribbon ends do that. So that's just a word of caution. If you have and you can test your ribbon before you start using it to find out if it's going to react like that. See, like this is here's the difference. Here is a deep cut, and here is a shallow cut. It's more wide than it is deep. And so when you're dovetailing, this is probably what you want to go for, but when you get wild scissors, you get that little deeper one. Oh, thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Shan. Yeah, my silly antics. Well, here's the thing. I toyed with the idea of being a stand-up comic, but I had too much material on myself. I wouldn't want to divulge all the secrets. So we just started to make wreaths instead. Here we go. All right, we're all the way around. Again, we still have a nice, I'm not going to go too far. We have a nice round. See how it goes all the way around? It's keeping its shape, and you're just making those ribbons go around. All right, let's get the sign ready because we're ready for it. And I usually put my signs, I'm going to put it this way, but I need it to face me. I usually put my signs about right there. And I may put this one in a little bit in because I don't want all my ties to show. And how fortuitous. There are Chanel twists right here. So what I was telling you is you have the option when you order signs from Jane to get hole placements or without holes. Mine are very small and you won't even be able to see them, but they're in the corners. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this over and get this sign ready to put on. And I put it through the hole and I pull about an inch up, not a lot, and then I twist. Oh, thanks, Jane. I do scrapbooking, card making, and I make mini albums, so that's another side gig. Thank you. I will show you one because I want to show Shan just what she's working towards. My dear friend Shan is getting ready to create a similar album for a friend of hers. So I will show you the camera, but not until we're done with the wreath. Isn't this great sign? You bet. And what's nice about it is you have this more Christmas, it's Christmas cookies, but it's this more rustic than the green and red. Good morning from Oz, Tess. All right, so I have a nice poofy spot right there, highly technical term, and I'm going to put my tie directly into, I don't know if you can see this, there's a poof right here. This down here, sort of off to the side, is where the ribbon is. I don't want to go down there. I'm going to go off to this side here and get right through this poof and get the Chanel twist to go all the way through all of the mesh, because the mesh will support it. For this type of sign, well, I order these with the signs already in them, but if you have a sign, there's a couple things. There's an actual tool that will pierce metal and you can use that. And somebody, let's see, Jane's sharing her favorite. So if it works for Jane, I'm telling you, it'll work for us. Go ahead and use your ribbons. Okay, now you can see the sign. And again, I'm trying to go through some mesh so that the sign will stay up on a poof. And now you know what my nemesis is in wreath making. It's sign attachment, which is one reason why I like Jane's, because she has the holes in them already. I don't have to worry about that. This one looks like I got it kind of kittywampus. That's one of my favorite words. You can use it too if you want to. And I'm trying to get the Chanel twist tie around the frame so that I can anchor it at least once. Once you get one in, it seems like the rest of them follow suit. There we go. Which I do have this one through. So I'm going to go ahead and anchor that one. And then slip that up. Put that Chanel tie. Now, I have to say that in my experience, the Chanel twists, while you would think that they would go through the mesh smoother, to me the tinsel ties go through a little bit better. Don't know why that is, just does it for me. All right, and I do have that one around the frame. And I will move my ribbons around because there'll be a couple that'll be underneath. But I found that the tinsel tie, now honestly, I'm turning the wreath around, I'm not turning the camera around, so I hope I'm not making you dizzy. You mean your other nemesis. Oh, raffia, oh yes. For those of you that have been on my lives on my page, I have to tell you, I think I've overcome my fear of raffia. I've used it now 3 times. And recently I discovered that Decor mesh tubing is another one of those things that I've been avoiding. So one of my challenges of this week has been to use the Decor mesh tubing. And I think I'm almost overcome that one. That stuff is just so springy, and I guess I have a aversion for things that come out of a bag but don't go back into it. So I'm on the last one, so I'm going to go ahead and get this last bit here. Forgive my fiddling. Till the live is over to search. Oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed that. How does everybody like when somebody puts a comment that has more on it and you can't see what else they're saying? That's my personal favorite so far. Hi, Vanessa. I think everybody's good. Yeah, tinsel ties at Dollar Tree, yeah. Okay, here we go. I'm not turning the camera. I'm just turning the wreath. And that is going to stay on. And that one is with the 4 holes in the corner. Okay? Let's make us a nice big bow for over here. And then we may do some filling in. But I hate to make promises and then not keep them. So before this bow, here's one of my mini albums. And this is just a tiara. Doesn't everybody have a tiara? Okay, so I'm going to very quickly show you this. I don't want to take a lot of time, so if it's longer than 3 minutes, I'm going to stop. So this is designed to look like a camera. It's got little buttons here and here, a strap, and then in the lens, it's got shakers. There's an airplane and a globe and things on it. Well, you take the shutter off of it and you remove the front, and there's a little mini album right inside. And this is a mini scrapbook album. Now I have to make sure that I actually finish this one. So it's got shakers in the front, and then there's places for photographs all through the album. Little pictures, big pictures, special tuck-away pictures. I don't have pictures in it, clearly, but you put pictures in it. And it opens up a number of different ways. For instance, this flap opens, and then there's more pictures, room for more pictures, and so on and so forth in this album. There's a lot of, this one probably can hold about 75 different pictures in it, but there's little places to put notes or more pictures. Again, it repeats itself through the album, and then there's this little tuck-away place for another picture and more pictures, and then another tuck-away place for more pictures. And then things, it just has a bunch of flaps and flips and things like that. So that's one of my mini albums. And I'll put that away now because this is about wreath making and Jane's front door decor signs. But thank you for indulging me. That's a camera mini album. All right, let's get to this bow. So these are the ribbon choices that I have. We're going to go ahead, and I know that there's been a rage with the easy bow, but for now, I'm sticking to my pro bow because I already got that down. Yes. Yes, it would. How can we order? Ha! You guys are so funny. All right. I already have my wire cut. This is 26 gauge wire, and it's cut at, I have two of them that are cut at 24-inch length. And I'm going to keep the wreath just off to the side here. Maybe if I can get some of the sign, I would rather like to have the sign in there, don't you think? Let's get Moosey in there. I can work right here. All right. And I'm going to check. I was wondering why I had an extra peg earlier. And the truth of it was, it's not an extra. Oh my gosh, that's the big one. Pick a peg, any peg. I'll tell you where it goes. Here we go. So this is my Pro Bow. It's the large model. I believe I got mine off of Amazon, but I would have to check my records. Do you make those, and how much? I do make them. I make all kinds. I have one that's a snow globe. I have, tell you what, folks, I will do a live on my page with all of the things that I've made that are mini albums and such. But let's stick with wreaths and Jane's front door decor signs here. going to go ahead, and this is one of the, when I saw this ribbon, and I'm going to show it to you, it's just a 1.5 inch. But when doesn't that scream Christmas cookies? Can you just see like a tin of cookies with this as a bow on it? All right, if it didn't scream it to you, it did scream it to me. Maybe I just have things screaming in my head. I always say things speak to me. Like if I'm shopping and I come home with nothing, it's because nothing spoke to me. All right, anchoring my center loop. On the Provo, hiding my wire. And then we're going to twist. This happened to be the end of one of my rolls, so that's all that will go into the ribbon scraps. I save my ribbon scraps because I have a lot of kids in the neighborhood that come and want to craft with me, so we use all those kinds of things for that. You can smell the cookies, Sandra, right? Was that a good vision? All right. And if you've seen this, haven't seen this before, this guide wire, or I call it my stabilizing wire, put that through the center loop right here and pull it. I put it on the left side and I pull it to the center. Make sure it's equal. I know. Excellent, Vicki. Excellent. And remember, if you pick 5 or 12 of them, you have a lot of opportunities to use them on the same base, even though they're different ribbons. Okay, so that's our start. Then we're going to go ahead and get something a little bit darker in here. Oh, let's just say, how about some buffalo plaid? And I am doing what I believe is called the terry bow. If it's not, I know you guys will correct me, so I'm not too worried about it. I have a habit of just doing on this Provo whatever I want. And sometimes I skip loops and sometimes I don't. Now me want cookies. Right. I know. The Cub Scouts here already hit me up for the cookie dough. I'm like, yeah, that's just what I need in my house. Cookie dough. And 4 months till Christmas. I don't think a single cookie's going to make it into a Christmas tin. All right. We're going to make, I think we're calling this the basic terry bow. You have that in black? Jane does do beautiful custom signs as well. And I wasn't going to mention it, but now that you did, this is my opportunity to say, go, pack, go. Thank you, Jane. That was my custom request from Jane a while back, and that's been a good seller for me on my sports wreaths. Imagine that. I'm in Wisconsin and Go Pack Go sells. The hips will be growing if not careful. I'm doing okay. I need to just stay away. All right, and now I'm going to bring in the lighter color, and I'm going to bring in this polka dot. I chose this 1.5 inch polka dot because of the berries in our original 2.5 inch. So I believe that it doesn't get too wild and crazy for me. So I'm going to go ahead and add that large polka dot right after my buffalo plaid. And I don't know how we're doing for time, so if anybody has to do dinner, yay, Cheesehead unite. Yes, Michelle. Yeah, we had to get, now, I'm sure that the folks that follow Jane from California might not have found that very amusing, but I couldn't help myself, people. Thank you, Sandra. It's one of my favorite things to do is look for ribbon. Well, my second favorite thing. My first favorite thing is to buy all the ribbon. Row C most of the time? I do. I tend to use row C. Let me just talk to you here. I tend to use row C instead of row D because D gets a little bit big for me and it adds too much depth to my wreath. My wreaths, just with the base and the ribbons, just with the base, and I got a ruler, just with the base and the ribbon, like the sign is sitting at 6 inches. And in some places, my poofs and ribbon are already at 8 inches. So if I use row D, I could potentially be adding 4 more inches to my wreath. That bumps you up to the bigger box, the thicker box, and balloon rate on your, yes, whatever team that you support, you can put it in here. We got a Cowboys, we got a Patriots. You can all just share your favorite teams. We'll see if we can cover them all. Let's see if we can represent the whole NFL. So that's why I use mostly C. Because I don't, if the bow gets too big, when you fluff it out, and if it gets too big, then you get into that balloon rate on your shipping. And then that's when folks have a little bit of heartburn when they have to pay that kind of price. Because the wreath is already expensive, so you give them an opportunity. Now we're going with this one, which is, it's not too thick. It's actually quite thin, but it still has a medium wire in it, so it stays up quite nicely. And I cut wherever they fold the ribbon. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this. Wherever they fold the ribbon on the roll, I tend to cut that off because I'm not going to steam my ribbon straight. I don't iron my own clothes. Why would I steam my ribbon? And when I say I don't iron my own clothes, I don't iron anybody else's either. So I put the lighter, and now I'm going back in with a red, but this is a little bit lighter than the buffalo plaid red, so I think we're going to have a nice full bow here. And if I can talk any faster, I would. Well, Debbie, you can go to 10 inches, but when you get to 12 inches deep, that's when they do a balloon rate. And I had a box that I thought was going, I had a wreath that I was shipping out once, and I thought it was only going to be like between $10 and $15 to ship out. It ended up, because the postmaster, or whoever that guy was there that I didn't like, he measured it at 12 inches, the actual box. Who dat, black and girl saints. So 12 inches you want to try to stay away from. The magic size, as I understand it, is 22 by 22 by 6. And that's probably the least you're going to do. So we have 3 left, and we have 3 2.5 inch ribbons, and we just, one peg down. That, my friends, was my aerobic exercise for the day. You all witnessed it. All right, let's go ahead and go with our dear friends, the deer and the Christmas tree. And I'm going to leave the buffalo plaid for the very bottom. We should be able to get this one in pretty quickly. Again, around the loop, bring it towards me. Do a good job of pinching it when you get in front of the front post. Make a nice turn. I see people snapping it. I'm not much of a snapper. I just crunch it and move it. Evie's got the Rams. Mine likes Barca. Buccaneers? Barca. Manchester United. Oh, we got the Cleveland Browns. They left, right? Cleveland Browns flew to coop. Barcelona. Barcelona. Are we talking football or soccer football? You know, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use the one that we used in the ties and then the buffalo plaid, and we will be done with this bow. We will get it on the wreath and we will call that a wrap. Again, my name is Joni Cook. I'm from Belle Chase Wreaths. You will find me with all of those. Whew. Look at here, folks. We came to the end of a row, and how fortuitous. We have enough. So that was a complete row with 16 tails at 14 inches and the second last row in the bow. Football. Okay, Barcelona, soccer, football. Yeah. Okay, I thought you had moved on me. I know. Stay with us. We're moving fast. And then finally, and the reason I wanted this ribbon at the bottom is because I think it's going to hold up quite nicely on the bottom. And I'm actually going to do double loops. Woo! Again, they folded it over about a ½ an inch. It leaves a crease. I don't like that, so I'm going to cut it off at the crease, dovetail it. And this it feels like felt. Maybe because it is felt, but let's not go off on a... Oh, thank you, Betty. Pinching is hard. What is your secret in pinching? Oh, I started this end. And instead of grabbing both the edges and doing that, which you just get this big lump in the middle, I do it just like if you were doing a ruffle method with your mesh. Take a little bit at a time and crease it together like that. And then the pinch is so much tinier. See that? That's the difference between doing this and this. One is a really, see how high this one is? If you just take both ends and pinch it, you get that really high bridge there. But if you do that like a ruffle method and you pull it together, that's a really tiny little pinch. And then that way it's easier to get it in between those wires. Does that help? Right. We've got crafters and sports fans alike. So, Diane, was that helpful? Oh, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. But that's my trick, if it's a trick. I would like to, maybe I should do magic. Probably not. And I am going to, as I said, I'm going to make double loops around these because I want it to be extra poofy at the bottom. And you can do that, actually you can add extra rows, extra loops of ribbon wherever you want in the terry bow, and it just makes it fuller. Now, because this is a thick 2.5 inch ribbon, even though I'm making double loops, I'm going to tie it each section off because you already got have a thick base on it. When you're doing doubles, all you do, again, is put the front of the loop this way. Do your little scrunching up here. I guess it's more of a scrunch than a pinch. So we'll call that our new highly technical term. Do your twist. And there we go. Voila, we have a bow. And if you want your tails to be up, you need to twist them before you tie off that section. Otherwise, they have a tendency to want to go whichever direction they want to go. There you go. And there we go. All right. So we have a little bit of extra. Get rid of that. Taking off our center post guide wire here. This is the Pro Bow. Yes, it is the large model, Pro Bow the hand. Like I said earlier, I believe that I purchased mine off of Amazon. And then I went ahead and ordered the fluff box and an additional spool holder. Now, here's another part that I think that a lot of times you really don't see when you're looking at a video. But the distance between the peg and where the last is about 2 inches here. I want to try to minimize that space by pushing, holding onto the peg and pushing with my thumb all of those ribbons towards the center. And I may not reduce it too much, but every little bit helps. So it's gone from like 2 inches down to about 1.5 inches. Evie said, oops, I'm Terry now challenged, but I've not given up. Maybe the secret is pinching. I would say that if you're using a lot of 2.5 inch ribbon, if you really don't scrunch it up, it gets to be a pretty big wad of a bow. So here we go. This is what it looks like without the peg. And look at our fluff box. Now, if you don't have a fluff box and you would like to have something to put your bow on to fluff, if you go to Pro Bow the hand, I believe Tiffany's told me in the past that they will give you the measurements. It's actually 12 by... This is 11 and a half. 11 and a half and 11 and a half by 2, but, or by 3. 1, 2.5. Lisa hasn't mastered that at all. Oops, the bow. Hey, Melissa. 12 by 12 by 2. There you go. Yeah, this one might be a little bit under that, but that's the general. And you can make one then for yourself. But it's on there. And I'm looking for my 4th wire. The fluff box for me helps me because I end up thinking I need an extra hand. So on the eye hook, pull your ribbons and then just pull it tight. You don't have to spin around there a lot, but go ahead and hold it on there. I'm going to take my two bows, and I'm going to leave my tail out to the center here and take my 2 buffalo plaid bows, put those. Then I'm going to take a tail to the left, a loop to the right, and then as they say in the chair, stand up, sit down, fight, fight, fight. Yes, the website gives measurements, make your own. Oh, good. And Diane agrees, fluff box is a must. So whenever you, and I will self-profess this, I'm not the best fluffer in the world, but after a while, it sort of comes to you, if I can say that. There. And basically what you want to do, now I pulled this, so I'm going to pull my bow, my loop, over this way, and then my tail over that way. And you do opposite, and you want a loop that way, and a tail that way. And see how we got the nice dark color on the bottom with that buffalo plaid? I think that turned out nicely. Do I prefer changing ribbons on each section than doing them 3 at once. I'm finding a little bit, well, here's what happens. If I had chose 2 more ribbons, I would have probably pulled 2 at a time. But when I just had the 6 ribbons, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 in a center. So if I have 7 ribbons, then I don't have to necessarily pull 2 at a time. And that's the beauty of the Pro Bow, and probably the Easy Bow as well. You get to do whatever you want. If it works for you and you like the results, then do it that way. Okay, tail, ribbon tail. There we go. Tail over here. A loop over there. Yeah, there was just enough contrast in here, the dark on the bottom, and then the red and canvas that. And this is where I get mixed up. When I get to the top, I forgot which I was doing left and which I was doing right. So again, what ends up happening is however I like it is the way it ends up. That's my advice for fluffing and bow making. If you like the way it looks, go with that. Thank you, Diana. Appreciate you. Supper's calling. Okay, Lisa. Yep, we're just about finished. I'm going to pull this off and put it on the wreath and we'll be finished. So I appreciate you staying with me. Go ahead, enjoy your dinner. Say hi to the family for me. There we go. There we go. So we've got all our ribbons in there. We've got nice full bow here. We're going to go ahead, get our sign in there. We're going to put this up just on the corner of the sign here. And again, you're going to push these wires through the mesh. And as I always say, hope for the best. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Candy. So here we go. I will fight with the ties. Thank you again for welcoming me to Jane's Front Door Decor page. I'm Joni Cook, Belle Chase Wreaths. And remember, there's lots of signs. There's signs everywhere. Remember to pick 3 or 5 of them when you're checking out. Thanks, everybody. It's been my pleasure. Thank you. Yes, some of the ribbon came from at home, some of it came from Hobby Lobby, some of it came from Deco Exchange. Oh, very good idea, Cindy. I'll go try to find some buffalo cookies. Okay? I'll show the finished products. Thank you. Thank you again. I appreciate you all. I know you can watch a lot of people live, and I'm so happy that you stopped and watched me. See you again soon. Bye now.